amazing gooseberries. They're just slightly underripe, but that will do. I fancy a refreshing drink, so I thought I would have some of these, perhaps with a little bit of honey or something, but I haven't managed to do much filming outside because as soon as I got home I've just been trying to get things done, but also to be outside I have to wear my gas mask and my goggles being inland, otherwise my eyes just go completely by the end of the day. So I've been protecting myself from that, and it just hasn't made very good filming sort of opportunities. You'll just see me walking around with a gas mask and goggles. but no, I'm doing what I can here before I can go back to the coast again, and it is the 14th today, which means that we only have a week left of the wild biome. So I just want to make a refreshing juice. Now gooseberries, apparently they are a little bit better when they're slightly underripe because they'll have a little bit more sourness to them. And so what I'm hoping is a bit of this, a little bit of honey, and I might, what I would really love to do, but I'm kind of really thirsty now, is that I would have liked to prepare some kind of mint tea cooled down and put into here, but maybe I'll do that next time. For now, we're just going to blitz the gooseberries up. That's actually quite nice. I'm just going to strain this out and get all the pulp out of it. You can probably see the lines around my face where I've been wearing these things, which they have a seal that stops anything from getting past them, which is really good. But wow, it's so warm today, it's so warm. But look at this. This is the, I didn't expect this. This is the unripe gooseberries that I've just blitzed up. They didn't actually need sweetening at all. It's really good. It's so refreshing. It actually reminds me of like a weak grapefruit juice. And if I harvested more and concentrated, it probably would taste just like grapefruit. Now I'm going to do a little bit of a answering of some questions that one of the Carol had on my YouTube channel. She posted a very good comment which highlights a few things that I wanted to talk about now that we are kind of heading towards the close of the Wild Biome project. But I won't talk for too long because I need to put my gas mask on again soon. As you can see, I've got the door open, and yeah, it's just something about being inland. The road pollution, the agricultural pollution, it all gets to me. And I think it's a combination of my sinuses drying right out as well in the summer. That does affect me too. But let's have a little look at this. Apologies, I've got my phone because there's a few things I have to read of it. So Carol said, this project is rapidly coming to completion. I'd really like to hear a lot more about what it's been like for you to be eating only wild food. So the first thing that she's brought up is, how has wild food affected you emotionally, whether you were challenged with cravings or feeling terribly hungry or anxious about getting enough to eat? Honestly, emotionally, it's been quite enlightening. I've actually felt much better and balanced emotionally during the wild food diet. I mean, I was fine before this, but yeah, no, I feel great in terms of emotions. I haven't had any swings. I haven't had any. I haven't felt depressed or anything like that. It's been a very smooth experience to my surprise. So, challenged with cravings or feeling terribly hungry? Not really, no. It's all about being able to find that rhythm and preparation. It's the snacks and things like that have been very important. My pemmican, my wild cookies out of pendulous sedge seed using acorn flour. These things have been there whenever I've not had something ready to eat. And during the spring months with all the St. Georgias, I had so much to feast. All the greens, all the mushrooms in the venison tallow. There was just so much to eat. And in terms of cravings to previous foods that I may have eaten before, like say your Japanese food, you have your rice and things like that. Sure, I miss them on a satisfactory level in terms of the taste, the flavours, the diversity of amazing things that they have in Asian cuisine, but in terms of cravings, absolutely not. I could go without it if it was down to continuing the wild food diet right now after this thing finishes. I could go without it quite easily. I haven't craved anything. I wasn't really a big sugar addict either, so I think I may have had a head start in terms of that I was drinking more milk. I was eating partially wild to begin with, just not as diverse and not as much. So it's so the transition wasn't terrible, and I think I did feel hunger a couple of times, mostly at the very beginning when I was still finding my rhythm during the first week. That's the only time I've really felt anything along the lines of hunger on this diet. I've just been listening to my body and eating when I need to, and just not eating as much, smaller portions, more nutritionally dense portions. So the hardest parts, the parts that have been easier than you thought they'd be, what you've learned about yourself and what you've learned about the impact eating only wild foods have been on your body and spirit. So what I learned about myself is that I can definitely live off wild food. It's been in the back of my mind for a very long time, possibly over the last 5 or 6 years, and I just, due to the convenience of having the food there with you, the normal food around, and like being able to and having that while I've been doing other things, it's just been that convenience. So I haven't really worried too much about trying to live entirely on wild food. It's just been in the back of my mind, like I know I can do this, but I didn't find the right time to start that until the Wild Biome project. So what I've learnt about the impact on eating wild food only, it's been amazing. There's a really positive impact of eating only wild food. As you can see, I mean, I'm not wearing a shirt because it's so warm today, and as you can see, I've balanced right out in my physique. I lost about 15 kilos. I've probably lost a little bit more, but I haven't weighed myself, and which I won't be until the end of the project. But no, it's really healthy. I have limitless energy despite losing the excess weight that I've had. I've got limitless energy. I can walk all day. I can do whatever I need to, even if I don't have a meal in front of me. I've just got the energy, which is quite amazing considering that I've been eating a lot less. And the impact it's had on my spirit, I suppose I felt a lot more grounded. I felt a lot more connected, in tune with nature and the seasons, and just being there, present in the moment. And you've been forced to be present in the moment with wild food, having to forage and gather everything and hunt and fish. You've got no other choice but to be, and it's just amazing. There's a deep spiritual connection to your food by being in tune with it this way. It's all about the feedback effect, which we don't get in the supermarket, because we see, say, like a chicken, it's wrapped in its package. A lot of us don't even recognize a live chicken, that was once a live chicken, because it's in the package. You don't think about that, where that had come from, like barn raised in a closed environment, free range, all that kind of stuff. You just don't think about that in the supermarket. Whereas here, eating this wild food diet, you've got the connection back to the source, and with that comes a deep respect, a deep understanding for the food and the resources that you've been that I've been eating. So yes, it's had a very deep and positive impact, both physically and spiritually. But that's pretty much what Carol had mentioned in the comments. But yeah, as things are starting to come to a close, it still kind of feels surreal that almost 3 months have gone past, and I've completely detached from the mainstream food system. This makes you think and makes you wonder about the food systems and what we can change, what we can optimize to have a healthier and more beneficial resource. A lot of the stuff that's out there in the supermarkets goes to waste, and it's not as nutritionally dense, it's not as healthy. And I'm really looking forward to see what the results will be after the diet ends. It's going to be, I mean, those results I can't reveal until maybe September, because the people who have been sponsoring us and supporting us with this diet have to release the information first themselves, which there'll be a Radio 4 program at some point, and hopefully there will be some hopefully the pitch will go well, and the people who have been filming us, Carlos and Emily and I think Michelle, they will try and put a pitch to Channel 4 and see if it can be filmed, if it can be aired on TV. So it's going to be an interesting set of results, I think. And what's actually going to happen also is that our Zoe results with the gut microbiome test, the blood fat, things like that, that's all going to be compared alongside a study with some people on the Zoe diet who have just been eating a normal diet, haven't changed anything, and then some that have been following the Zoe app, that have been doing the recommendations and eating certain veg and things like that alongside the app. So they're going to compare our gut microbiome results between those other people, which will be really fascinating to see what it's like side by side, and see how our gut microbiomes vary between the different study groups. As it's the 14th today, that means we only have 7 days left of the Wild Biome project. So we have our Zoe kits that we got sent a while ago, and what I do have to put in today is the blood sensor, because the plan is that this thing will last for 14 days if it doesn't break, because for me it broke after just 7 days or less than that on both times that I had it. So fingers crossed that this will last this time, but that just has to go in the back of the arm here, and that will monitor our blood sugar levels. So it's going to be interesting to see how my blood sugar levels are over the next week being on a wild food diet. Certain I'll have less spike. Well, I didn't really have too many spikes anyway. It was my blood sugar was a bit low actually at the start. So that might have been due to a faulty sensor, or my blood sugar was genuinely quite low. But despite that, throughout the rest of the diet, because I did when it did go low, I did feel a little bit of fatigue, and not much. But since being on this diet, I haven't felt that at all, or if very, very, very rarely. So I'm certain that the line will look a little bit different than before. So we just have to take it all out, take it out the box here. We've got these little stickers that we have to put over our arm afterwards to cover up the sensor. Now it's just this little box here, and in there is this. Now we just have to unscrew that, and in there you can see the little needle. All we have to do is to just find a place to let it go in, and then you just go like that, and the sensor is stuck there on my arm. Now the other two things that we have to do on the Zoe test, which I'm not going to film, especially this one, is the gut health test. Now that will be done on the 21st of the month when we do our final tests, and that's when we have to eat the nasty muffins again. But with the gut health test, you just have to take a stool sample, and you put the stool sample in here, and you post that off to the lab for testing. And then the other thing we have to do is the finger prick test. Now this is the thing that I'm dreading the most, because you have to use a little thing that pricks your finger, and I don't bleed very well. I had to prick myself a few times to get enough drops of blood out for the test. And we have to do the Medichecks test about the same time as well, which means that I'm probably going to have about 6 or 7 or 8 pricks in my fingers just to draw enough blood for these tests. But all in the name of science. But it will be fascinating. It will be fascinating to see what the results will be once all that's done. The sensor's in. I'm going to go and put that sticker on to protect it, and then that's that done, and I can start reading my blood sugar levels after it's calibrated in about an hour. The summer berries are ripening. This is going to be a juice that I'm going to make. There's some black currants in there, some common sorrel for the tang, the lemony tang, some water mint, and some gooseberries. So wow, this is just absolutely delicious. The summer fruits are in, and I'm going to start indulging in them and enjoying them. Just wow, look at that. It looks so good. So I'm probably going to just basically add some water, a little bit of honey, blitz it up, strain it, and job done, and put it in the fridge just to cool down for a little bit. But this will be my evening drink for today. You can see the goggles. I'm just making sure, because it's evening, I'm just making sure my eyes definitely don't go. I look like something out, when I've got the mask on, I look like something out of a game, like maybe Borderlands or something. It's just, it's crazy. But I'm going to, but the change in season is really taking its effect. It's changing from the last of the greens, and now I'm inland instead of seafood. I'm having my venison and I've got some rabbit defrosting. But we're really getting into fruit season, which is what I'm really looking forward to. I've had my wild strawberries earlier in the week, and I've now got my blackberries and my gooseberries, and I'm going to start harvesting a lot more fruit as the seasons change. But wow, the cherries will be ripe soon, so we've got to look out for those. But I can't help but laugh at myself looking at this. But just being inland, it's the only thing I can do. I mean, ratio only goes so far, and I don't want my eyes to go, and when they go they swell up and I can't see, so I have to look like a silly person for the time being. Look at these beauties. So all the berries are actually starting to ripen. These are red currants, and it's a very common bush that you'll find out and about, and very, very, very delicious. Very tart, but very delicious. That's not too sour actually. Amazing. And then we've also got some black currants. So these are both probably going to go in my juice today, along with some more gooseberries. But wow. Absolutely amazing. So this is kind of what I'm looking forward to in summer, is the fruits, and then soon the blackberries are going to be ripe towards the end of summer. So we're going to have a lot of amazing vitamins and things. As the greens become less harvestable, we go for the flowers, we go for the seeds, and we go for the berries. It's kind of cool that this transition is happening at the end of the Wild Biome project. We've kind of seen a winter diet, we've seen a spring diet, and we've also seen a summer diet throughout the whole journey. As I've had the blood sensor in for a couple of days now, I just wanted to show you something. Now this is an old photo from at the start of the project, and it's remarkable because you can already see a difference here. This is the start. You can see that I've got a bit, it drops really low when I go to sleep, and it goes up, and it's not as level and straight, but it goes really low. I did have a bit of, I think it was hyperglycemia they call it, when it goes below the recommended amount. Now it's not diabetes, I'm pretty sure of that, but I did have low blood sugar. If we go to today, this is my glucose reading for today, and this is within 7 days of the end of the project and having been on wild food for almost 3 months. You can see a stark difference. Look how good that line is. When I sleep, it doesn't drop below into the red, and it's been quite level. Around here was when I had my venison mince, and it's been really good. So this is the Libra app itself. You can see at the current reading, it's quite nifty actually, it's pretty amazing. And if I go up to the top and we'll go to daily patterns, it's amazing what you can look at. Average glucose, you can see how it's been reacting at different times of the day. The daily graph, this will show, so this was yesterday. I had quite a few pendulous edge cookies just to keep me going, so that was probably the carbohydrate spike. And this, I don't know, it might have just been collaborating as well, because it went in the night before, but I didn't really eat much different. That was when I had my venison mince, but it did spike a tiny bit. But when I say spike, when you have to worry about it is when it spikes right out of the green. This is when you eat, and usually it's expected to rise a little bit when you eat, and then it goes back down and stays at a good point. And this was obviously when I had some pendulous edge cookies in the evening, so that's when I've eaten. I'm just amazed at the difference, the stark difference from the start of my diet dipping down in the red, and now towards the end being on wild food. You can see how level it has gotten on the on a wider scale. It's remarkable. I'm really looking forward to see what the gut microbiome tests come back as in September. In all of that, there's going to be some really fascinating data, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how all of that comes together.